What's up, you guys, and welcome back to some more r/slash real talk stories with your boy RT and my dude Dale. Y'all, today we're gonna dive into some r/slash real talk am I the a-hole stories, where OP's son thinks that his girlfriend should stay with him and his mother for free. I'm getting a hint of entitlement here, ladies and gentlemen, but I want to see what you guys think. So without any further ado, Dale, let's dive right on in, man.
My girlfriend is very playful and outgoing. She has a hot tub in the garden, and last week we were going in and I was already in swim shorts. She said, "All my bikinis are in the washing." So I said jokingly, "Just go in naked then." I then went and got in and she went upstairs to get changed. She then came out a few minutes later and got in fully naked. The garden is an easy view of her neighbors. She's also flashed me many times in the garden and told me she's been naked many other times. We know the neighbors well. Next door is a guy slightly older than me. I can't believe his luck. Am I the a-hole to think she shouldn't do this?
Okay, so I would say it's one thing if OP's girlfriend was doing this on the regular. It'd be one thing if OP's girlfriend was constantly out in the hot tub or just roaming around in the garden like she was Eve from the beginning of creation, just kind of, free-flowing it and just doing her thing. However, it does not appear, at least from OP's story, that his girlfriend is just out and about, just letting it all hang out all of the time, constantly. This seems like, okay, this was an opportunity for, them to have a moment together. In my opinion, I don't think that his girlfriend's the a-hole for doing this. I don't think that he's the a-hole for doing it. I feel like she may have just been trying to initiate what would be deemed an intimate moment between the two of them. I feel like he just totally missed the message and did not get the hint, ladies and gentlemen. I do understand where OP's coming from. I understand him not necessarily wanting his girlfriend to be exposed in that way in front of a neighbor who's not much older than OP himself. That can raise some levels of insecurity within OP. However, it doesn't appear like this is a repeat situation, a situation that takes place, constantly. It seems like this was something that OP said and his girlfriend took it at face value, and she could have potentially been like, "Hey, this is an opportunity to, give us a chance to really enjoy the hot tub." If you guys catch my drift. I honestly don't know why OP is upset, because if I had a girlfriend in this moment and she was to say something like that, man, oh man, I would be enjoying myself. Next story, y'all.
I, female 42, have 2 children. Suna, female 20, and Jay, male 25. I am a widow and am fortunate enough to have a well-paying job as well as my late husband's life insurance. Once my children started working, I have always told them that I wouldn't ever ask them for rent, as I want them to save up for when they would either move out or if they would want to pursue higher education. We live in a 3-bedroom apartment for roughly $2,200 a month. For further context, my daughter is a fairly independent person and cooks her own meals, takes care of her own laundry, and even helps me around the house with the cleaning. She even gives me about $200 bi-weekly just to help out. I cannot say the same for Jay, as I usually have to clean his room and do his laundry because he lets it pile up in the laundry room. As for my meals and Jay's, I only end up cooking for myself, as my son usually eats out or eats at his girlfriend's house. My son had recently asked if his girlfriend, Anna, female 23, would be able to move in, as she's being evicted due to some issues with her landlord. Anna is a very sweet girl, but we don't interact much as she doesn't come over too often. Her and Jay have been dating for about a year. I told him that his girlfriend moving in would undoubtedly change the rule I had set in place about charging rent. This is because, as a couple, they'd need to have some set responsibilities, just as they'd have if they would rent a room someplace else or move into an apartment. I told him rent would be $750 a month. How they split it is up to them. I also let him know that they are more than welcome to use any of the groceries I buy. They can even request me to bring certain stuff home when I go to the market, but I will not be cooking for them. I also let him know I would not be cleaning their room, nor will I be in charge of doing their laundry. My son was enraged and started demanding why I am doing a sudden 180. I told him that he's a grown man and these are things a couple should find a solution to. I told him that he can either agree to these requests or him and Anna would have to find someplace else to live. He hasn't spoken to me in 3 days. I understand why he feels like I might be unfair, since I did say I wouldn't charge him rent. But adding an extra person to the household is an exception to that rule. My daughter understands why her brother is upset, but ultimately agrees with me in that I should not be the one to take up what should be their responsibilities. Am I the a-hole?
Okay, there are two very important things to keep in mind in this story when coming to your final verdict and that I've allowed to guide me to my final verdict, ladies and gentlemen. So, first and foremost, this is OP's house, okay? All right, OP made it very clear that this was where she resides with her children. She pays rent here. It's not cheap rent, but it's rent. It's a place that she calls home. All right, so that's the first thing to keep in mind when coming to your final consensus about this story. All right, now the second thing to keep in mind when finalizing your verdict for who is the a-hole in the situation and if OP is the a-hole is to remember what OP said in the beginning of her post, in the beginning of her story. She said that she would not charge her kids, her two kids, her son and her daughter, both of them, those two individuals, emphasis on two of them. She would not charge either one of them rent so long as they continued to pursue higher education or they continued to save up to move out. And I assume that that probably required some sort of proof or some receipt, something just to prove that they are actually doing one or the other, okay? And hopefully, you know, they are blessed enough to be able to do both at the same time. Either way, again, number one, it's important to remember that it's OP's house, and number two, it's important to remember that she said she would not charge the two of them rent so long as they lived under those two conditions. Okay, so OP's son wants to bring in a third person, his girlfriend, under his mother's roof. So I think that OP is completely justified in changing the way that she thinks and saying, okay, well, this would null and void you from the previous terms that you lived under, with it being rent-free, for the sole reason that you are bringing a third person into the mix, a second person in your group, a third person outside of herself living in the house. So, of course, I mean, I don't see why OP's son feels so entitled to have to continue living for free, especially when, you know, he wants to bring his girlfriend into the house. His girlfriend was paying rent. I don't understand why she has an issue paying $750, or the two of them or whoever in the duo pays $750. I don't see why they are so upset or why he's so upset about it. At the end of the day, it's about respect. Okay, it's about respecting the boundaries and the rules that were set. Okay, so if OP's son really sat down and thought about it, yes, he is able to live underneath his mother's home, which is a blessing, especially in the market and the climate that we're living in today, for free, as he's continuing to, you know, achieve goals. And if he wants to bring his girlfriend in, who is probably paying anywhere from $1,200 to $2,200 a month in rent, she and he would have to figure out a way to pay $750 towards rent. Now, I don't think that's not reasonable. If you guys think it's unreasonable, please let me know down in the comment section, you guys. I know in reading a lot of the comments underneath this particular Reddit story, there are a lot of people getting into the legal aspect of, you know, being a landlord and renting, and, you know, what it's like to, you know, deal with occupants and increasing rent. However, you guys, don't forget, this is not a typical landlord type situation. It's not a typical landlord-tenant relationship here. This is a mother and a son, a mother trying to help her son do what he needs to do and help her son to be able to achieve great things. And this is a son that is trying to, I feel, play the system to benefit him and his girlfriend. So OP, I do not think you're the a-hole. OP, I think you are completely justified in charging the $750 in rent to your son and your son's girlfriend if he so chooses to bring her into the household. The fact that you were even willing to open the doors to her is more than most people would get. So kudos to you. Your son, hopefully he will come around and he will see the error of his ways, and be grateful that you're not charging them an astronomical amount of money for her to be able to move in, you guys. But again, y'all, let me know down in the comment section if you guys think that the mom's the a-hole for, you know, making this amendment or throwing this clause out there that would null and void the rent-free lifestyle that her son can live since he wants to bring his girlfriend into the house. Y'all, let me know what y'all think down in the comment section, y'all. Last story, Dale.
My brother is a fairly well-known artist in my area. He is a sculptor and a complete piece of crap. My wife loves him and has always supported him. She would show everyone his sculpture he made for her, and people would buy from him. Her sculpture is one of the very first ones he made after he got out of rehab for the millionth time. He was at our house a month ago, and he saw his sculpture. He said that he was embarrassed by how crappy it was compared to what he makes now. He asked if he could take it and rework it to make it better. My wife agreed because she is an amazing and trusting woman. He sold it. He sold it for $15,000, which wasn't enough to pay off the people that he owed money to. He could have asked me for the money, and I would have paid it. Instead, he broke my wife's heart, and I freaking hate him for doing that. I went to see him in the hospital and told him he was dead to me and to never come near my family again. My mom called me to scream at me for putting more stress on him when he is in such a vulnerable point in his life. I told her that if she ever mentioned him to me again, I would tell my kids to choose between her and me. I know it seems extreme, but you have no idea what this did to my wife. My father called me to talk about it and said my mother was inconsolable. I told him that his other son stole not just a crappy piece of art, but my wife's belief in his redemption. I said that if my mother insisted on messing with me over her piece of crap, son, I would do what I said. I am so angry right now that I'm not really thinking straight. I need perspective. Am I the a-hole?
You know, I love how OP is defending his wife. You know, to some people, this might look like a trivial situation where there was a piece of artwork sold, there was a gift that was given, and it was taken back and it was sold. Okay, it is what it is, whatever. To some people, it might not seem like a whole lot. But for OP and his wife, it was a lot. You know, to some degree, it was everything when it came to the relationship between OP's brother, and OP's wife. So I commend OP for defending his wife and his wife's integrity, his wife's feelings in this particular situation, because it would have been so easy for OP to turn around to say, you know, okay, I'm going to side with my brother. I'm going to side with my mom. I'm going to side with, you know, all of these outsiders, you know, these people outside of my relationship with my wife, my marriage with my wife. And I feel like that's something that is too common in a lot of situations now, depending on what the situation is. Absolutely. I think that is completely fair. It's a great decision. It's a great way to handle the situation. However, in this particular situation, when the wife didn't do anything wrong, the wife was trying to be encouraging and loving and supportive of OP's brother, who obviously appears to be struggling with some type of monetary situation, whether it be gambling or betting or just getting wrapped up with the wrong people. It appears that OP's wife really had hope that, you know, her brother-in-law would turn around and turn a new leaf. However, that does not appear to be the case. And I understand OP's mom wanting, you know, her sons to be in a good place with one another. However, I think that OP is completely justified in setting his boundaries with even his mother in this particular situation. OP's brother had one job based off of what he said he was going to do. He had one job, and that was to go and improve the statue, the gift, the piece of art, and then return that piece of art back to his sister-in-law. However, he, you know, deceived and lied to his sister-in-law and turned around and sold the piece of art for money so that he could turn around and pay off his debts. Again, you know, if it was a situation where he turned around, like OP said, if he had turned around and, you know, told his brother that, look, I'm struggling, can you and your wife help me out with some money? I'm wrapped up with some bad people, I got some debts or whatnot. OP mentioned that he would have given his brother the money. However, his brother figured that the easiest way to deal with this was to lie and essentially steal and to deceive his brother and his sister-in-law. So as a result, he has to deal with the consequences, and he's an adult, so I think he understands what consequences are and how they can potentially affect him and his relationship with his family. So, you know, he made his bed, now he's got to land, and he dug his grave in this particular situation, ladies and gentlemen. OP, you are not the a-hole. I hope that you continue to defend and support your wife in the way in which you have in this particular story. I hope that more people turn around and defend their significant other in this particular kind of way. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all let me know down in the comment section what y'all think about today's story. Do you guys think that OP was the a-hole for how he handled his brother, how he handled his mother, or do you think that he was quite an honorable man in how he defended his wife and how he looked after her and set boundaries around this particular situation? Ladies and gentlemen, y'all drop in the comment section and let me know what you think, not only for this story but for the other stories in this particular video as well. You guys, if there are ever any stories that you guys want me to cover and you want my thoughts and opinions on them, y'all please be sure to drop them down in the comment section as well, and I would love to take a look at them and potentially give you guys my views on whether people are the a-holes in their situations or just my comments on, you know, different confessions and situations that people experience. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all, I have enjoyed sharing my thoughts with you guys. If you guys have enjoyed today's video, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys could smash the like button. That would help to trigger YouTube's algorithm, as well as go ahead and hit the subscription button as well as the bell notification icon. That way you guys will be notified every single time that I upload a brand new video here to the channel. Ladies and gentlemen, it is always fun sharing in some real talk with you guys. But until next time, y'all, many blessings and much love, you guys.